Hello and welcome to a new episode of KET Talks. I am Vincent from Forbidden Colors and I will be your host today, joined by my colleague Séverine de Bruyn, who is leading the Feminist Impact Unit at Forbidden Colors. Hello Séverine, are you ready for your first KET Talks?
Yes, I am very ready, Vincent. And I'm also very happy, especially since I've been following up the situation in Italy very closely these last months. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
As you were saying, in this episode, we will discuss the situation of LGBTIQ+ people in Italy, as we are joined today by two representatives of Arcigay, the main LGBTI+ organization in the country. Let me introduce Roberto Muzzetta, who is a member of the national board of Arcigay and who is in charge of external relations. Roberto, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm fine. Thank you.
Let me finally introduce Angelica Polmonari, who is president of a local committee of Arcigay in Modena and chair of a women's committee in ILGA World. Angelica, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you for having us today, and I'm fine, tired but enthusiastic about this opportunity, and thank you very much for inviting us to join you today, and it will be a pleasure to talk about Italy with you.
Roberto, for our listeners, I will let you introduce in a few sentences Arcigay and what you're doing in Italy.
Okay, Arcigay is the main organization, as you said, LGBT organization in Italy. It's comprised of more than 70 chapters all over the country, so like a local organization that provide any kind of activity from services to the community to advocacy up to organizing actually prides. Arcigay, in fact, with other organizations, for instance, in 2022, organized more than 50 prides that are under the umbrella name of Onda Pride, the Wave Pride. So we are a very complex, complicated and big organization, mostly based on the work of volunteers.
Thank you very much, and let's join on our first topic. Just a month ago, Giorgia Meloni of the far-right party Fratelli d'Italia became Prime Minister in Italy. We know her well at Forbidden Colors as she's been an important agent of the so-called anti-gender, anti-LGBTIQ+ movements in Italy and internationally. So this election raised a lot of concern in Europe and for us at Forbidden Colors. So we wanted to know first how you see the situation in Italy. Do you have fears? What is your point of view on what's happening in Italy now?
Personally, I have many concerns, but I want to clarify one thing that sometimes maybe is not clearly understood, maybe abroad, that the election of Meloni did not represent a real shift of the Italian people to the right, because in fact her coalition, that is basically the same coalition that supported Berlusconi's government 10 years ago, got only 43% of the votes. Berlusconi used to get almost 50%. And the other group of parties, the more progressive party that actually had been allied for more than 2 years supporting the Conte, the government of Mr. Conte, got more than 50% of the votes. So the outcome of this election is mainly due to the fact that the other parties did not manage to find a way to coalesce, because the electoral system is majoritarian, so that really punished the party that did not find a common ground to coalesce and greatly favored Meloni and their coalition that with 43% of the vote got almost 55% of the seats in the parliament. That is a very important thing to remember.
Talking about the reactions within the LGBTQ+ community, yes, we are in pain, we feel disappointed, and we fear discriminations because there wasn't a real shift, at least likely, in the political system, but we know that society always acts in different ways. And so we as LGBTQ+ activists especially, we have been trying to stay together as much as we can and to build new alliances also outside of the community to see if the people outside are really in favor or against this new government, and people are not in favor of this government. Like our people, we as LGBTQ+ people, we are not in favor of this government because we know that this government is a far-right government based on hate, because this is a true fact to underline, in my opinion, because the anti-gender propaganda has been at the very core of its business and of political way of acting. So we are concerned, but we also know that we have been working very well, especially through the last decades, to be as much unified as we can. And so we will resist, and we will resist in a proactive and positive way. So we will not attack the government, but we will try to keep working as much as we can in the best way possible to provide new services, to finance new valuable projects, and also to design new ideas in order to provide society with better toolkits.
Right now, in this with this new government, who are your political allies? You said that the Progressive had more than 50% of the vote. So who are you talking to? Who are the parties that are supporting you?
I think that the challenge is to patrol the situation, because the government might act openly with maybe laws against us, or indirectly, that is more insidious things, maybe with regulations or not financing certain projects. That is the most insidious thing. And the third level of interference or action against us is in the language, a matter of the language, how the politicians would talk about our themes, and the stirring and igniting eventually hate speech, giving a leeway to hate speech, not even maybe talking hate speech, but giving leeway on the social media, and people feel maybe empowered and emboldened to be more like that. Of course, our allies is first of all any institution and any association in the society, because it's a very cultural battle. On the political level, our allies are the parties that, although with a lot of flaws, they stay on the progressive side. Let's say there are at least 4 parties: Partito Democratico, Movimento 5 Stelle, Possibile, and Azione by Calenda. So there are, of course, parties that somehow they showed attention to our themes. So we hope there might be allies if there is a real challenge in the parliament. And then I would add, also within the majority, there might be some member who have more sensibility on our issues, and we hope that if there is the challenge on our rights, we might find someone on the other side that might be more prone to stop any kind of change that may be very hurtful for our rights.
One last question I have about this subject. Senator Alessandra Maiorini, she's really a very important ally for you. She has asked recently to set up a parliamentary intergroup for the protection and promotion of the rights of LGBT plus people. Do you think that other political parties are open to this idea? How do you see this? Are these opportunities?
I think that actually mirroring what is happening now in the European Parliament, having an intergroup would give a focus on these issues that would be even a focus that goes beyond the boundaries of parties, because we even think maybe someone on the right coalition might be part of it if properly convinced, let's say. So I think that the idea is really good. Actually, would bring Italy to Europe, even on that level, and so it makes sense. We hope that they manage to succeed in this project.
The next topic we want to talk about is the DDL ZAN. The bill was voted down last year. Right-wing senators even applauded when it was voted down. Roberto, you being a lawyer, can you tell us about what the DDL ZAN was about, and why was it so important for the community?
Let's explain a little bit the name. Maybe people might not know what it means. DDL is an legal expression to mean like a bill, basically, that is proposed by the parliament to be approved and to become eventually a law. And ZAN is the name of the first proponent of the bill, that is actually is a member of the parliament, Alessandro ZAN, who is also openly gay. This proposal intended to extend the hate crimes law that already exists in Italy to ableism and gender and orientation discrimination. So it was just introducing an extension of an existing law. And the law actually passed on the Camera dei Deputati, because we have 2 chambers. So in the first chambers actually was approved, and we didn't really hope that it would pass on the Senate, because we felt there was something going on, and actually, as you said, it was technically voted down. Anyway, the law was not approved. To some extent, it was also an option that we considered, because the other option was to have a law heavily edited, and might be even worse than not having a law, because it might be even more hurtful and more contradictory on the affirmation of our rights. The good thing that these laws brought was like the debate and the fight we had in the society. We started talking about the subject. Many people talked. It has become